So I've seen the question many times, and quite frankly, I get asked the questions. We're coming to a point where people are going to have to take these vaccines. That looks as though it's the reality, either in the context of work or in the context of travel. Based on what you're saying, they're in a lose-lose situation. What does this mean?
Well, what does this mean is very clear. It's very clear what this is going to mean. So let's consider the consequences of this, both at a population level and at an individual level. Because I would well understand if for the population it's maybe not the best thing to do, but on an individual level, it's still okay. Yeah, then that's not an easy question. But as a matter of fact, it's exactly the opposite. Well, it's not the opposite, it is detrimental, both on a population level as on an individual level. And I'm telling you why. I think the population level, I explained you, we are increasingly facing highly infectious strains that already right now we cannot control, because basically what we are doing is that we are turning, when we vaccinate somebody, we are turning this person in a potential asymptomatic carrier that is shedding the virus. But at an individual level, I just told you that if you have these antibodies, and at some point, and I'm sure people can challenge me on this, but reality will prove it. I think we are very close to vaccine resistance right now. And it's not for nothing that already people start developing, new vaccines against the strains, etc. But what I was saying is that, okay, if you miss the shoot, okay, you could say nothing has happened. No, you are at the same time losing the most precious part of your immune system that you could ever imagine of, and that is your innate immune system. Because the innate antibodies, the natural antibodies, the secretory IgMs, will be outcompeted by these antigen-specific antibodies for binding to the virus. And that will be long-lived. That is a long-lived suppression, and you lose every protection against any viral variant or coronavirus variant, etc. So this means that you are left just with no single immune response. With it's none. Your immunity has become nihil. It's all gone. The antibodies don't work anymore, and your innate immunity has been completely bypassed. And this while highly infectious strains are circulating. So I mean, if that isn't clear enough, I really don't get it. And people, please do read my what I posted, because it's science. It's pure science. And as everybody knows, I'm a highly passionate vaccine guy, right? And I have no criticism on the vaccines. But please use the right vaccine at the right place, and don't use it in the heat of a pandemic on millions of people. We are going to pay a huge price for this. And I'm becoming emotional because I'm thinking of my children, of the younger generation. I mean, it's just impossible what we are doing. We don't understand the pandemic. We have been turning it in an artificial pandemic. Who can explain where all of a sudden all this highly infectious strain come from? Nobody can explain this. I can explain it, but we have not been seeing this during previous pandemics. During natural pandemics, we have not been seeing it, because at every single time the immunity was low enough so that the virus didn't need to escape. So back at the end of the pandemic, when things calmed down and there was herd immunity, it was still the same virus circulating. What we are now doing is that we are really chasing this virus, and it becomes all, increasingly infectious. And I mean, this is just a situation that is completely out of control. So it's also, we are now getting plenty of asymptomatic shedders, people who shed the virus, because if they are vaccinated or they have even antibodies from previous disease, they can no longer control these highly infectious variants. So how does that come? Does anybody still understand the curves? I see all these top scientists looking at these curves, at these waves, like somebody else is looking at the currency rates at the stock market. All they can say is, oh, it goes up, it's stabilizing, it may go down, it may go up, etc. I mean, that is not science. They don't have any clue. They don't even know whether the curve is going to go up exponentially or whether it's going to go down or whatever. They're completely lost, and that is extremely scary. That has been the point where I said, okay, guy, you have to analyze, you have to, but these people are not listening. That is the problem.
So you are in effect putting your reputation on the line because you feel so passionately about this, because I guarantee you that no government, no health system is going to want to hear what you are saying. You're in effect almost giving fuel to the fire for an anti-vaxxer who doesn't want the vaccine.
No. Well, no, not yet, because I've clearly also addressed some emails from anti-vaxxers. I mean, I'm not interested, but I'm clearly telling them that at this point, it's so irrelevant. Whether you're a pro-vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer, etc. It is about the science. It's about humanity, right? I mean, let's not lose our time now with criticizing people or I mean, anti-vaxxer. Okay, if you're not an anti-vaxxer, you could be a stalker. You could be we like to stigmatize, because if you stigmatize people, you don't need to bother about them anymore. Oh, this guy's an anti-vaxxer. Okay, I mean, he's out of the scope. Oh, he's a stalker. He's out of the scope. I mean, that is a discussion that is completely irrelevant at this point. It's about humanity. And of course, I'm passionate. Of course, I mean, it's about your children. It's your family. It's my family. It's everyone, right? And it's simply, for me, I put everything at stake because I've done my homework, right? And this is simply a moral obligation. Mm-hmm. Right?
Wow. I mean, I there's very little one can say. As I said, when you position that you are in the business of developing vaccines and helping societies protect against infections through the use of vaccines, and in this circumstance, you are saying, hold it, we're doing the wrong thing here, it's very difficult to not listen to that. That's the truth.
Well, Philip, the answer is very easy. I mean, this is human behavior. If we are having panic, we do something and we try to make ourselves believe that it is the right thing to do till there is complete chaos and there is a complete disaster. And then people say, well, I mean, politicians will probably say, we have been advised by the scientists, and scientists, will maybe point to somebody else. But this is now a situation. I'm asking every single scientist to scrutinize, to look what I'm writing, to do the science, and to study exactly I call this the immune pathogenesis of the disease. And because, I mean, I like people to do their homework. And if the science is wrong, if I'm proven wrong, I will admit it. But I can tell you, I'm not putting my career, my reputation at stake. I would not do this when I would not be 200%, convinced. And it's not about me, not about me at all. It's about humanity. People don't understand what is currently going on, and we have an obligation to explain this. And I posted my paper on LinkedIn, and I invite all independent scientists, please, to look at it, because this can be easily understood by microbiologists, immunologists, geneticists, plenty, biochemists, etc., all the biologists, all these people who have elementary knowledge. It's not rocket science. Elementary knowledge of biology should be able to understand this. And I mean, I can only appeal to these people, to stand up as independent scientists and to voice, their opinion.
Yes. I mean, that was a long point that somebody put on about the innate immune response. over the false overreacting of the innate immune response, leading to detrimental effects on other coronaviruses. So I think you have expressed this so well, Geert, is that I think that just hearing your explanation, the passion, the focus on the science, I think that that's as much as you can do. I think that I don't even want to say any more, because I don't want to lose that passion that you have just expressed, how much you are doing in terms of trying to see if you can make a difference with regards to the impact that we are having in this pandemic. You know, we really, really appreciate that, Geert. We really, really appreciate that. I hope enough people shares this, listens to it, certainly because I'm connected with a lot of scientists. Please connect with Geert, take a look at his paper, and see what you think. And as you said, let's make decisions based on science. That's the best that we can do at this point. Wonderful. Just stay on the line there. We're just going to close off now, Geert. So thank you again very, very much, Geert. And I hope maybe we can speak again in the near future to expand a little bit further on what you have said.
Thanks, Philip, for having me on.
Wonderful.